Hi, this is Tai-Pan for Eredd6.com, and today we're here with actually our first ebook reader review. Now, this is kind of funny for us because as a big fan of tablets as I have been over the last year, almost 2 years now, I had kind of poo-pooed the ebook readers a little bit. I was like, why get an ebook reader with some limited functionality that only reads books, and when you could get a tablet, which does so much more in terms of operating system functionality. But recent events have forced me to take a look at the ebook reader, and I've taken one home, played around with it, been using it for a little while, and I'm embarrassed to say I'm a little bit of an ebook reader convert. And I'll get into that more a little bit later to explain why, in terms of usage and things, suddenly the ebook reader seems to be such a possible gadget for my life. But before we get into that, let's look down at the reader that we're going to be taking a look at today. And this is called the ER reader. And this is basically what you get here in the box. A lovely black box, a small USB cable that has the mini USB on one side, the regular USB on the other, and that plugs also into a power supply connection, into your wall, but also into the ebook itself. Now this particular ebook reader also comes with a lovely portfolio style pleather case, and this would be the e-reader itself inside. It's a black, sort of a matte rubber finish style device. I think if any of you watch any of my videos before, you know I'm a fan of that finish, but you know, your mileage may vary depending on taste. And I think for me, it's a really nice feel to the product. It feels sturdy, it feels strong, it's constructed well, so in that sense, it's quite good. I'm just touching the power on button up here at the top to boot up the device, so you can get an idea of what the e-ink paper looks like as it comes into view here. And there you go. Welcome to your pocket library. We're basically pretty much booted up there. Now, ebook reader's got quite a few buttons and things on it because it's not a touchscreen device. After being a tablet guy for 2 years, I keep trying to touch the screen to make things happen, but obviously nothing does. Well, and now it's finally booted up fully, and it's moved into the different options and things that will be available for you. We'll get into that in a moment as well. First, again, look at the hardware. Down here in the bottom right of the product, we've got an OK button. This is basically functions as the enter button right on your keyboard for a PC. It's also got a bottom, left, right, and top options to navigate around the screen, which you'll need again because it's not a touchscreen. It's got a back button. It's got a music button. It's got a menu button and a plus and minus for controlling volume buttons. And then it has a whole series of number buttons here, which actually serve several functions. If you look on the device's interface screen here, there's actually 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 different main screen functions. By pressing the corresponding button number here, you will open that particular function and its options. So that's kind of how you navigate around that screen. You also have the option of using the buttons below that I was talking about, the navigation pad thing here with the OK button, so you can go back and forth and right and up and down, and then pressing OK, select a particular function that you want to use. The device is incredibly thin. Looking at it from the side, it's amazing how slim it actually is. Tablets, as slim as they are still a little bit thicker. It's just a little bit thicker than the mini USB connection that you'll find here. This, I think, was supposed to be the headphone slot. One of the things you can do when the device is listen to MP3s. To be honest, I tried to stick 2 or 3 different headphones in there, and I was not able to get my headphone connection to go into that jack. It's definitely not a power supply jack, so that's a bit odd. You'll see there's nothing along the edges here. At the top, they've got a power button. This is where you'll power on and off your device. Holding that button down for a few moments will begin the power off function of the device. Here we've got a full SD card slot, and I've got our mini SD card converter inside of there. Pop that in, click it down, you're off to the races. It's very comfortable, very good for that actually. Nothing on the further side here, and that's basically the entire device. If you look at it on the back, there's a reset button for resetting the entire machine, and there's also a, let me just pop it open here for you, access to the battery. So there's kind of a mobile phone like battery that you can slide into there, and that's supposed to offer you 20 days full of battery life. Now I haven't had the product for 20 days yet to let you know if that's really the case, but to be honest, it's been lasting 2 or 3 days now without any real significant drop in power. We're down 1 bar so far from the 3 power bar indicator at the top here. So 3 days, 1 bar, maybe it's got 10 days of battery life. So taking a closer look at the interface and the actual software on the ER reader, you can see there's 7 different options here, with number 7, the button that I'm pressing here now, being the settings, and you can set the language and the date, and it tells you a little bit about some power management features, how you can look through the files on it, and I'm not sure what the maintenance does actually, to be honest. Let's see, maybe there's something. Oops, it's not a touchscreen device. Remember that. Touching number 8 here. Okay, so you can format your internal storage again if you want to reformat your memory, or restore to the factory defaults. Pressing the back button brings you back out to the options and settings one more time and bringing us back out to the main screen. You'll note of option 4 here is audio. As I've mentioned, I haven't been able to get any headphones connected in on this particular device, whether they've got a problem with the audio jack, so I wasn't able to test that. Number 3 is images. Now, e-ink is a wonderful thing for reading. However, I have to admit that I don't think you're going to be doing too many slideshows on your particular on an e-reader. We can take a look at some of our test images that we've had from before. And let's look at, this is a Microsoft sample images of Blue Hills. Not very blue, be a little bit tough to tell what that is exactly, and I think you'll want to be staying away from that one as a picture viewer device. It's a nice little function, but doesn't really add too much to the experience. In terms of games, though, there is for the Sudoku fan or the Othello fan, the options to play those. Would be kind of nice if there was a way to do the crossword in there as well. I could see book lovers loving to do the crossword, but I think text input would probably be your challenge there. Now, coming outside here to the library. This is your key thing about what you're going to be using the device for. And let's look at what we've got in terms of books here. We've got some stored on the memory card for our test folder already. And we go down here to the test content, ebooks. The 2 ebooks that we have are in the PDF and TXT format. That's one thing that's kind of good about the ER reader, is it does support, I think, almost all of the different ebook reader formats that you're wanting to look at. We always use Zombie Nights, if you recall, for our particular test book, and here is the Zombie Nights with the PDF file format being shown here. Now, clicking and scrolling back and through the pages, which is your most common function that you'll be doing, you can do easily by right-clicking here on the direction pad. And for those of you who are using e-book readers from a couple of years ago, you'll note it used to change pages fairly slowly. This one with a 400 megahertz Samsung processor inside, I'll start clicking for you here. You can see how fast it transitions. It transitions reasonably fast, and you'll have to do it fairly often if you use the font size of this high. Now, the font size is adjustable, and I'll go into that more a little bit later as well, and that's actually one of the things that makes all of a sudden the ebook reader a very valuable device. So, in what kind of situation are you going to want to have an ebook reader instead of a tablet for reading your ebooks? One of the great things about ebooks is that they're great for reading in bed, the same way some of your favorite old paperbacks were. In fact, I would suggest they're probably even better for that. One of the things that I've been reading recently online is some reports that using your computer or smartphone before you go to bed is bad for your eyes and bad for your sleep patterns. Apparently you get a little bit stimulated by the bright and the flickering lights of the screens. Now, the other nice thing about the ebook is that reading in bed is that depending on your lighting situation or how brightly lit or your reading space is, you can adjust the font size. So actually, when there's lots and plenty of light, you might be able to reduce the font size to a comfortable level. And if it's a little bit darker in your reading area, or you have someone who's sleeping beside you and they want the lights to be a little bit dimmer so that they can sleep, you can actually increase the font size so that it's easy still to read the device. Now, you can't read them in the dark because they don't have a backlight to the e-ink e-paper that's used on them, but you can read in fairly low light conditions. The other thing is, for people who have problems with their eyesight, it's not necessarily always to wear glasses when you're reading with your ebook, because you're able to, again, increase or decrease the font size to what's ever appropriate to your particular vision problems. So in that sense, the ebook is fantastic. So that concludes our review of the ER Reader. I think the one thing we've been able to figure out from reviewing this device and using it quite a bit is, obviously, if you're going to be doing some serious reading, especially in bed or at night before sleep, and you want to go to an ebook format, I think it's definitely, you're going to need a dedicated ebook reader. Whether it's the ER Reader, well, I guess that's up